First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
An overnight chase across the UF campus leads to quick arrests and a pair of armed robbery cases. Good evening. It's Thursday, April 23rd. I'm April Lanuza.
And I'm Yelena Rowley. Thanks for joining us. WFT's Alexandra Rivera was at the scene last night, and she now joins us in the studio. So, Alex, what did you see last night?
April, Yelena, was started as a series of UF texts sent to students, faculty, and staff, ended in a car chase and 2 arrests late last night. Police say it was a gunman and his getaway driver who caused a manhunt on campus. There was one report of an attempted armed robbery on campus and an earlier one in downtown Gainesville. A series of UF alerts last night warned of a potential armed robber on campus. UPD continued to provide updates on the search as a chase ended in a car crash with a suspect running away.
The suspect fled in and around campus here at Lake Alice.
UPD set up a perimeter around the Lake Alice area and brought in backup officers from Gainesville Police Department who helped in the search. Suspect of 2 armed robberies that occurred in 2 separate locations, one on campus and one off campus. That suspect did end up in Lake Alice, where he was apprehended through canine and helicopter units. With canine units and flares, police eventually made an arrest. The suspect was later identified as 22-year-old Jared Williams. Also arrested 19-year-old Caitlin Smith. Police say she was an accomplice driving the car last night as Williams looked for people to rob. UPD issued an all clear around 3 a.m. and said students and faculty could resume normal activities. Williams and Smith are both charged with aggravated assault and armed robbery. They're currently being held in the Alachua County Jail.
UF and the local chapter of Zeta Beta Tau have issued apologies after frat members were reported being disrespectful to veterans they met on a trip to Panama City Beach. 2 groups ended up staying in the same resort, frat members from UF and Emory, plus veterans taking part in a Warrior Beach retreat. Several people on the veteran outing said some college students hurled insults, spit at veterans, messed with the decorations on their cars, and even urinated on an American flag. The executive director of Warrior Beach Retreat sent a letter to UF stating their misbehavior.
The University of Florida is extremely concerned about allegations specifically of illegal behavior with our students. We're taking this matter very seriously and have opened an investigation to determine what happened and what we need to do in response.
The frat's apology letter says it will cooperate and will send UF chapter operations will suspend operations until the investigation is over.
Yesterday, President Obama made an Earth Day visit to Florida's Everglades, which he says are threatened, along with much of South Florida, by climate change. The president told an audience that changes in climate are an urgent threat to America's economy, security, health, and environment. He declared there's a bipartisan consensus that the time for denial of climate change is over.
So climate change can no longer be denied. It can't be edited out. Can't be omitted from the conversation, and action can no longer be delayed.
The president began his visit by taking a trail walk with park rangers, where he passed skaters along the way. We've stayed dry in north central Florida, but will the clear skies continue for the rest of the week?
UF forecaster Morgan Falcon joins us in the Weather Center. Morgan?
Ladies, good evening. Yeah, we have been staying dry here in north central Florida. Most of that rain today, I'm sure you saw, stayed more to the south. A couple reports of water spouts and tornadoes to our south, but a beautiful day here in Gainesville. Here's a look at the time lapse since 11 a.m. this morning. Absolutely gorgeous skies, got up to the upper 80s for temperatures, so really just a perfect day to be outside. Lows tonight getting down to the lower 60s, 63 in Gainesville, 65 in Ocala, 62 in Lake City. So our hour by hour showing that trend, but warming back up to the 80s once again for Friday. And check it out, no rain chances headed into our Friday. Lots of sunshine as well. So here's the highs across the area for Friday, getting up to the upper 80s. So another warm day on tap. Will end off the week dry, but coming up in my main weather forecast, I'll tell you about some rain chances for your weekend. Back to you.
Thanks, Morgan. Yesterday, it was literally all the buzz in one Florida neighborhood. Tens of thousands of bees and their enormous hive removed. Holly Bounds has a story from Lakeland.
There was a whole lot of moving and shaking happening on Hollingsworth Hill Avenue Wednesday morning.
I've taken the brunt of all the stings.
A some 90-pound hive housing about 80,000 bees had to come down, and they didn't seem to like it.
How many have you gotten, you think? Oh God, here they come.
Oh, close your door, close your window.
After more than a year of watching this thing grow, homeowner Jeff Cox finally called the pros to take it down. He had a little nudge from his honey.
Definitely my wife. So, the bees started buzzing around the house and we started to notice more activity, and somehow she got spooked, made some calls, and here we are.
All Creatures Wildlife Control owner Dustin Hooper
But this sucker's huge.
had never seen one quite like it.
You don't usually see them exposed in the open like this on a tree limb.
Wanting to make sure the bees were saved, he called in local beekeepers to tackle the job.
This is a passion, to save the bees and try to get them safe in places where they can do what they're supposed to do without being a threat to people and without people being a threat to them.
The hive was knocked down and separated into sections. They're headed to nearby apiaries where the bees will continue their work.
It's gorgeous. You can see all the little individual, the white is the newer wax, the dark is the older wax. But to me, that's just beautiful.
And from the looks of it, they do a pretty good job.
That was Holly Bounds reporting. It took a little more than 2 hours to get that hive down. Eventually, they had to cut one of the big branches down because the hive was wrapped so tightly around the smaller ones.
A local organization is bringing joy to the Gainesville community through renovating their homes. Rebuilding Together, an organization along the likes of Habitat for Humanity, is a charity that chooses candidates based on their level of need and renovates their homes. Renovations include new roofing, plumbing, and lawn maintenance services. The organization chooses candidates who cannot afford to do maintenance on their homes and then does the work for free. The volunteers say the actual work, accomplishing an important job at someone's home, is the most rewarding part.
Something that kind of grew in me, something that I started doing as a chore and that turned into a passion and something that I really enjoy. And now right now there's nowhere I would rather be than here on this work site helping out.
Rebuilding Together is currently working on 9 different housing projects in the Gainesville area.
Still to come on WUFT News First at 5, 2 hostages may have been killed by a CIA airstrike. And now several questions are rising about the government's use of drones.
And a little boy got his wish to look more like Iron Man, all thanks to a team of students with a 3D printer. Stay with us.